Hello again, teachers. This is John over in Educational Technology, and we're going to continue on in Google Jamboard this time. In this tutorial, I wanted to give you guys just an example of one sample lesson or exercise just to kind of get your creative juices flowing, and at the same time we want to talk about the frame bar or frames. So in this example, what we did is we set up a rational number review, and it's purely just sticky notes, and I set up the directions right down here in the middle. So students are to find a post-it note, and again, they're not assigned. You can assign them if you like. I didn't do that for this example. Change your fraction or decimal to a decimal or a fraction. So in other words, they're going to do the opposite of whatever they see. Once they're done, they can change it to orange so that I know they are done. So this pink one up here at the top would be a good example. I could say, hey, the pink one is your sample. When we have 0.5 or 5/10, that is equal to 1/2. And what students do is they just double click it. If that wasn't already done, they type in their response. In this case, I asked them to change it to orange, and then they click on save. Done. Again, like we talked about before, there are not a lot of text options here. So for the most part, they're just going to type in their answer, they save, and then Jamboard's going to automatically change the size of the text to fit the size of the sticky note. Now, if you guys are looking at this, you might notice, you say, okay, well, even if this wasn't a sample, we've got 3, 6, 9, 12, we have 24. Well, that doesn't work because guess what? I've got 36 students. So this is where yes, you could add additional sticky notes to one page, but you might also want to think about different frames. And the frames are kind of like slides if this were a Google slide. Up here at the top, you guys have arrows, and then you have this expand frame bar. So in this case, I have the exercise here on frame number 1, and then for whatever reason, I have frame 2 and frame 3 with nothing on them. So I'm going to start by clicking those 3 little dots. If you guys remember in the past, those 3 little dots will give you additional options for whatever it's on. So in this case, I'm going to click on those 3 little dots, and I'm going to delete those empty frames because I don't need them. And now what I want to do is I'm going to use those 3 dots again, and I'm going to duplicate. Boom. Besides that sample, I now have more than enough stickies. So maybe some of my more accelerated students, I could ask them to do additional ones, or maybe on the second page, I want to change the numbers, or whatever you want to do there. At this point, you guys might want to start thinking about other frames or slides that you want in your Jamboard. So maybe you even create a directions page, and obviously my direction page would be at the very beginning. So I would click on add frame here to get a blank frame. Now, if you already created something like I did in this sample, I could copy and paste. So there's not a million things you can copy and paste in Jamboard, but this is one of the simple ones. So I'm going to just copy and paste these one at a time. I copied this by just clicking on Command C on a Mac or Control C on a Windows device. Go back to frame 1 and then Command V or Control V depending upon what device you're on. So maybe there's my first post-it note. Find a post-it note. Go back here. I'm going to copy my second one. By the way, if you guys didn't notice, these arrows will allow me to just go back and forth as well. So maybe there's my second one. And let's grab that last one and put that in as well. So you could do something like that if you wanted. It's all copy and paste, so that's good news. Now let's say that you messed up and you realized, oops, these are out of order. Besides having the add frame where you can add a frame anywhere you want, even in between slides, you can also just click a slide and move it. So if I want this one at the beginning, click, drag, drop, and then you've got the order that you want. Again, click, drag, move the frame where you want it. So those are the basics up here at the top. And notice that on the samples where I duplicated, I had a black background, and now I have a white background. So that's one nice thing that they gave us, is that you can set a background to be different on each frame. Now in terms of frames, duplicating, deleting, that's pretty much all I wanted to cover this time, but just one little extra tip for you guys. You guys may have noticed I've got my little Bitmoji down here. So for those of you who are using Chrome, you can install the Bitmoji Chrome extension. So when you guys click on that, you'll get pretty much everything you would normally have on your phone and more. So in this case, I could just type math, and there we go. We get some Bitmojis that we can drag in. And they are put in as PNGs, meaning that areas don't typically have a background, so you can easily move these wherever you want. And then you can also use things we talked about in the last tutorial, like change the order. So I'm going to put that in the back, and then everything's in front of it like this. So anyhow, hope that helps you guys out. And until next time, remember, you can't be an analog teacher in a digital world, and we will see you soon.